Most business owners are trapped in their business, constantly putting out fires, never knowing what to work on first, and if they stop working, the business stops working. Well, that used to be me as well, but ever since I did this one thing, I've been able to run my business working as many hours as I want. And this hasn't just worked for me. I've helped countless 6, 7 and 8 figure business owners at selfmastery.co do the same thing so that they can build a business that runs itself. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it is you need to do to build a business that runs itself so you can scale with freedom. Let's dive in. So there's one essential but massively misunderstood element of a self-running business: systems. If your business does not have systems, then you are the system. And if you're the system, then you are also the bottleneck. And what most entrepreneurs never realize is that they're not running a business. They're manually running a series of tasks, projects, and people from inside their own head, which means the moment you step back, the entire thing begins to fall apart. But your business, understand this, is not a to-do list. It is a collection of systems, each one with a clear function, predictable outcome, and a defined process for execution. Think of it like this, okay? Imagine your business as a body. Each function, marketing, sales, operations, finance, is like a major organ system. Marketing brings in oxygen, leads. Sales distributes it to where it's needed, converting leads to customers. Operations metabolizes it into value through product or service delivery. Then finance maintains the health and stability through cash flow and profit management. But if one system fails, the whole body suffers. And this is where most people go wrong, okay? They never actually map or build their systems consciously. But if you want your business to run without you, mapping out your systems and building them is step one. So here's what you need to do. First, identify each function in your business. Now, every business has 4 essential functions: marketing, sales, operations, and finance. There can be more depending on the business. Like, some businesses have HR, but every business has those 4. Now, when you're doing this, I would recommend you use something like Canva whiteboard for this and create a flowchart sort of diagram, but write these functions out, then identify the goal of each function. So what is the purpose of it? With marketing, the goal is to get leads. With sales, the goal is to convert leads into customers. With operations, the goal is to deliver your product or service. With finance, the goal is to maintain cash flow and profitability. The second thing you then want to do is list out every task in your business. And I mean every single one. Depending on you and your business, this might be like 10 tasks or it could be bloody 200. But list out every task, from emails to creating content to client work to whatever, every single task. Then identify the goal of each task. So, for example, if one of your tasks is creating content, the goal of that task is to generate leads. If one of your tasks is coaching calls, then the goal of that task is to deliver your product or service. And so what you'll find is every single task in your business has a goal that aligns with the goal of a function in your business. Now, if some tasks don't line up with the goal of a function, then you've either left out a function or you've misidentified the goal of that task. So for example, you might think the goal of content is to get followers, but if you're a business, that's not the goal of content. The goal of content is to get leads. So you need to make sure you're looking at the end goal of the task. Or if the goal of a task doesn't line up with a function's goal, that task is useless, doesn't need done. And you might be wondering, why would a task in my business be useless? I don't know, okay? We just tend, as entrepreneurs, we tend to start doing tasks that just simply don't need done. They don't add any value to the business and we do them anyway. Stop doing them, okay? The third thing you want to do then is group all the tasks under the function that its goal aligns with. So all the tasks that have a goal of, say, generating leads all go under the marketing function, which has the goal of generating leads. You then want to put those tasks in logical order. So if, for example, you have a marketing task of sending a newsletter and a marketing task of creating content logically should come before sending a newsletter in the logical flow of the function. As to get people onto your email list in this example, you create content which incentivizes people to sign up to your email list. The final thing you want to do then is go through each task in each function and write out the steps to doing that task. So how do you do that thing? So what steps do you follow when you're creating content? What steps do you follow when you're doing a sales call? What steps do you follow when you're analyzing data? What steps do you follow when you're doing client work? And once you've done this, you've just mapped out your business systems. Because here's the thing, each function is a system. Each task in each function is a process. And the steps for each task form your SOPs. And this act of mapping out your systems is the first step to building a business that runs its bloody self. Because until your business is mapped as systems, you're operating blind with no idea how each thing you do in your business plays a role, how they play together. But like I said, it's only the first step, because even well-mapped systems don't run on their own. They need people. And more importantly, they need ownership. And with that, there's a law I live by inside my business and that I get every one of my clients to live by as well. If more than one person is responsible for something, then no one is. A system or a process without clear ownership is a system or process designed to fail. And this is actually where a lot of businesses lose leverage, because when everyone is responsible for a task, no one does it, no one feels the pressure to improve it, and no one fixes it when it breaks. And so who ends up picking up all the slack? You do. You, the entrepreneur, you, the business owner, you, the founder. You take all the slack of all the people who are slacking because they don't have ownership. Because simply, if two people are in charge of something, one person will always think the other person will do it. And so no one does it. You know, there's a cool wee story. Let me find it. There's a story about this. It's really clear when you read it. Hopefully it's clear when I speak it too, when I read it out to you. This is a story about 4 people named everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it, and anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry around that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. Essentially, if everybody's in charge of something, everybody thinks somebody else will do it, and so it doesn't get done. Ownership solves this. So let me show you how I explain this to clients inside the Mastery operating system, which is the system we help business owners install at selfmastery.co. Links in the description, by the way, if you want to see if it's right for your business. But there are only 2 layers that matter. 1, the process owner. This is the person responsible for a task in a system. And the system owner. This is the person responsible for the entire system and each person who is responsible for a process inside that system. For example, let's say your business has a YouTube content creation process inside its marketing system. So one of the tasks that you do each week to generate leads is make and post a YouTube video. The process owner is the person who makes the video, but the system owner is your marketing manager or the person in charge of the marketing system. Now, the system owner can also be in charge of the processes in the system. So if you have a marketing guy, maybe they do all the marketing tasks like email, ads, content, whatever, okay? Or maybe you have a marketing guy in charge of the marketing system, and that guy only does one of the processes, and then you have 2 other people who do other tasks or processes in the marketing system. Or maybe you have a marketing guy in charge of the marketing system, but they do none of the processes in the marketing system, and you have 3 people in charge of the processes or tasks. You all report to the marketing manager, who just ensures the process owners are doing their job correctly and all the rest. So see, when you assign ownership like this, it creates a layer of protection for you. Because if a process owner has a problem, they go to the system owner first, not you. And if there's a problem in the process, it's up to the process owner to fix it, not you. And if the process owner can't fix it, it's up to the system owner to fix it, not you. And so it creates this layer of separation where people know what they're supposed to do and how to do it without running to you. And all of a sudden your business gets one step closer to running itself. Now, of course, there are things you can and should do to hold these people accountable so that it's done properly. But unfortunately, I'm not going to tell you how to do that, which may seem rude, but I have to keep some secrets only for my clients, okay? They pay me a lot of money. I can't be going and telling all the secrets for free. But this structure of ownership builds real autonomy because everyone knows exactly what they own and what they're judged by, okay? They know the standard they have to reach. So to do this, what you want to do is go back to your systems map. Assign one person to own each process and assign one person to own each system. Now, depending on your business size and all the rest, the person in charge of a system may be in charge of all the processes in their system, maybe not. And maybe you're in charge of a certain system or process as well. It just depends on your team size and all the rest. You then want to draw reporting lines. So if person X owns content creation, a process, and person Y owns marketing, the system, person X reports progress and blockers and problems to person Y, the person in charge of the system. You then want to define KPIs for each system. So a crucial part of systems is tracking data. So make sure you track the data of each process and system so the owner knows how their success is measured and if their current strategy is working or broken and needs changed. You now have a structured business, not just a team of people doing random stuff, because everybody now is focused on what they're in charge of and is focused on making sure it's done well and solving the problems, and everybody knows what role they play in the business to move the business forward. Everyone knows their roles, their responsibilities, and how they play together. And now that ownership is clear, it's time to remove yourself. And the mistake I see even 8-figure business owners make here is they try to delegate tasks instead of responsibilities. They hire someone to, do social media or manage emails, but the outcome still depends on the founder, you, making decisions, solving bottlenecks, or clarifying expectations. And the truth is, that's not delegation. Real delegation is when someone owns the outcome of that task or system and has everything they need to achieve it without you. Look, when I started treating delegation like that myself, not a handoff, but more so a transfer of ownership, everything bloody changed. And that's what lets you scale without your time getting swallowed. You stop bloody micromanaging and you set your employees, your team members up for success. And sure, there's tactical things to do to help delegate properly, like the systems map, ownerships, which we've covered, but it still comes down to you trusting your team and yourself to let go, which is simply a limiting belief that so many entrepreneurs have. We all at some point start off thinking, nobody can do it right, I have to do this, yada, 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 whatever it is. And so you might actually have limiting beliefs you need to overcome here, which, that's a whole other video entirely, but just trust the process. Recognize that if you have a good team, if you have good team members, clear responsibilities, good systems, if you've done the work to set up delegation to work, you will be fine. Everything will work out. And if problems pop up, then guess what? They pop up. You're a business owner. Your whole fucking job is to solve problems. So you will be fine, okay? Solve the problem if it arises. And if you don't know how to solve it, pay me, I'll help you. I'm joking, I'm not really joking. Pay me, I'll help you solve the problems. But you don't need to, okay? You can figure it out yourself, figure out how to solve it, and then solve it. Anyway, how do you start actually delegating to remove yourself from the business so that it runs itself? Well, first, you have to understand this, okay? The extent to which you take this is entirely up to you. Like, you can delegate to the point that you only work 2 hours a day, or maybe you delegate to the point where you only work 8 hours a day, or maybe you delegate to the point where you only work 2 hours a week, or whatever. It is entirely up to you how far you take this, but how you do it is it's really simple, okay? You look at your systems map, you see what processes and systems that you're still responsible for, and then you want to delegate the processes and systems that you're responsible for to other people. Maybe you have people on your team that you can delegate them to. Maybe you have to hire somebody. But this is simply what you do. You look at what you're responsible for on your systems map, then you give that responsibility to someone else. So if you want a business that runs without you, you just need to commit to removing yourself layer by layer, system by system, process by process. Now, inside the Mastery operating system at selfmastery.co, I walk you through this entire delegation model, from system design to scorecard building to hiring and training the right system owners. It's not about working less for the sake of it. It's about building a business that performs without trading time for output. It's about leverage, it's about freedom, it's about autonomy. So if you're running a business and making over 6 figures a year, and you're ready to step out of the day-to-day, click the first link in the description below and let's systemize your entire business from the inside out so you can finally scale with freedom. And look, one of the things I hire home to all clients all the time is that delegation without documentation is dangerous. It's exactly why most delegation fails. It's why you've once, hired someone for a role, that person fought up and you thought, screw it, I'll just do it myself. And so what you have to understand is that if you don't have SOPs for your systems, you're not building systems. You're building dependence on your current team's memory, because without documentation, look, every task becomes a guessing game. How do you do it? When do you do it? SOPs, standard operating procedures, are the operational memory of your business. They make delegation repeatable and they turn your knowledge inside your head into company assets that anybody can use. Because as an entrepreneur, not to, big us up and go all superiority complex and all Andrew Tate on you, but we are sort of built different in terms of risk tolerance, need for certainty, ability to run an entire business based on the information in your head. And you might be able to know how every task needs done and how your business operates, but you can't expect your team to know, okay? How I try to frame it to clients is that your business is a machine. Each system is a function of that machine. And SOPs are the instruction manuals that keep the machine running even when someone new steps in to operate it. So you see your systems map. Those steps for each process are the basis of your SOPs. Now I won't go deep on SOPs here because I already did a full video breaking them all down. So if you want the complete guide to creating bulletproof SOPs so your business runs without you, click this video on screen now and check it out.